She's trying, I think.
Mm-hmm. Almost there, guys. All right, welcome to Saturday Night Raw Comedy. It is your women's group comedy. Woo! Give it up for everybody.
Woo!
It is usually for ridiculously amazing women. That is what it stands for, brought to you by Suitman Productions. However, we have become inclusive more of non-binary. So if you non-binary comedians out there would like to join us as your they, them, we would love to have you. Otherwise, we're going to get this show on the road. Catch us live tonight. You will also be able to see this posted on Suitman pages on the YouTube. On the YouTube. Boy, I'm really with the words tonight. I feel like Starfire. I am with the words tonight. You can catch us on YouTube. Go look up Suitman Productions. All right. So we have a great night for you. I'm actually super excited because some of these people I've known, seen throughout the circuit, worked with them, and it's actually pretty cool that I now get to see them in like this full circle of, oh, hey, now they're on my show. So a lineup out for with these people of Washington, California, you name it, we've got it tonight. So your first comedian, and I don't do jokes, by the way, guys. That's just not how I am. I'm just the host. We're here to focus on you guys. So no set from me. Everyone clap. Whoa, I know everyone just went, thank God, no set from the host. Yeah, I know. All right, so your first comedian is from Dallas, Texas, and I just had the joy, I mean, and looks just stunning right now. Give it up.
From my living room in 3 days without a shower.
So give it up for Emily.
Hey, how's everyone doing? So my name is Emily Castrejon. I'm a Dallas-based comic. You heard it right, that last name, Castrejon. I'm half Hispanic, but like I'm this kind of Mexican, you know what I mean? So I'm a mom. I got pregnant really young. I was 19 whenever I got pregnant. Because asking a 19-year-old if they're on birth control is like asking a child if they've brushed their teeth. It's like, deep down, you know they want a cavity. I don't know. It's really interesting being a new parent because now I get to set the stage for everything, for this person's life. And I remember how I was raised. My parents taught me so much, but the one thing that I will take away from my childhood was walking in on them having sex. I don't know if you have walked in on your parents having sex, but it just burns into your memory. Well, like in college, I lived with my parents for a bit and I walked in on them having sex again. That's 2 times in my life I've seen my parents have sex. And what I can gather from the first time and the second time, I realized something, that I have sex exactly like my mother. These are primal positions. They are inherited, not learned. My parents have seen me do stand-up and they enjoy it. I like to talk about my childhood a lot because I'm the youngest of 4 children and there's like a 15-year age gap between the oldest and the youngest. Wow. But like my parents were older and I grew up in a home where my parents smoked cigarettes and I come from a Camel home. I don't know, clap if you enjoy Camel cigarettes. I don't enjoy sponsored, but I would love it because they send amazing merchandise. And speaking of the amazing merchandise that they used to send, they sent my parents a Joe Camel stuffed animal and they gave it to their child. When you're a 3-year-old girl walking around the mall with a Joe Camel stuffed animal, a lot of grown men come up to you and offer you money for your camel.
Oh.
You guys know what cool points are? Whenever you would buy cigarettes, you would like mail them in like box tops, basically. You got like merchandise for the more you sent in or whatever. Well, let's just say it took like 3,500 cool points to get in this. I haven't done stand-up in a long time, and a lot of my stand-up groups from whenever I was like 18, 17, people thought it was really cool that I was doing stand-up so young, and people would always ask me, what made you want to do stand-up? Like, why do you enjoy doing stand-up? I do stand-up for the same reason that I enjoy having sex with men twice my age. It's fun and it makes me feel good about myself. This is fun. I was honestly really nervous about there not being any like interaction during a Zoom show. This has been great. I'll just keep going. I mean, Father's Day just happened. This was, my husband and I, we celebrated our first, Father's Day as a family. But it will always bring me back to the Father's Day whenever I was 18. I had made plans to go on a date with this man, red flag number one I should have realized is that he agreed to go on a date on Father's Day and then called me and told me he forgot it was Father's Day. But then he asked me if he could bring his son to our date. I'm a comic. I'm always looking for material. I said, sure, why not? I thought this kid would be the age where like, oh, give him ice cream, won't tell mommy, right? We'll go right over the kid's head. I showed up to brunch 20 minutes later. I see this man's 6'4", 17-year-old son, Dylan. And Dylan looks down at me. He says, who the fuck are you? And I looked up at Dylan and I said, I'm your new stepmom, bitch.
Woo!
All right. Well, I got the light. This is my first time doing stand-up since I've had a child, pretty much. I mean, I've done open mics, but this is the first production that I've done. So shout out to Suit Man and all these beautiful women that are out here performing tonight. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the show.
Yes.
Hopefully that was a good way to start the night.
Emily, woo! Emily,
you.
where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at Not So Funny Emily on any social media platform, or Emily Coles, and that's Coles spelled like bowls with a C.
All right, Emily out here selling camel and comedy at a very young age. Please tip her. She needs it.
This is true.
All right. That was a great start to the night. Let's keep this rolling with one of my other favorite people in this world. And I actually happen to know this particular comic because we're actually friends. And we also met through social media. So Athena Rodriguez, it's Rodriguez, right? Rodriguez, right?
Yeah.
I always want to say Medina because of funky sandwich.
Yeah, Athena Medina.
Athena Medina. All right, let's give it up for Athena. Woo!
Oh, thank you. Hold on, let me just, excuse me. Okay, let's get out of here. I don't want to look at it. All right. As you can see, I'm not a goddess of makeup. Sorry, I put on this lipstick and I was like, oh yeah, nude lipstick. Yeah, that's my skin tone. And then I put it, I was like, oh, it's my actual skin tone. I look washed out. Sorry about that. But yeah, my name is Athena. I was named after the Greek goddess of war, wisdom, and homecraft. Right? Because when I think of a woman in power, I'm like, she better be able to knit a fucking sweater. Like, okay. I'm glad they said homecraft though. I'm glad they said homecraft and not something specific. Like, Athena, goddess of felted wool. Very stabby craft. Very stabby craft. Yeah, I wish there was a cute story of how I was named after a Greek goddess, but it turns out my dad was just reading a Greek mythology book while he was cooking. Not very cute or anything. Yeah, so like my full name is actually Athena Sudoku Rodriguez. A lot of important things for me happen in the bathroom. But yeah, I'm okay with it though, because I could have been named something else. I could have been named something like Concepcion or something. And that name always like weirds me out because I'm like, doesn't that mean like sex? Like conception, right? It means sex. You might as well name your kids "We Screwed" and make this. It's a very weird thing. I'm okay with it though. Like I said, I could have been named something else. In my family, we're really big on the nicknames. Really big on the nicknames. Everybody in my family has a cool nickname but me. That's just my opinion though. Like I have a cousin Memo, I have a Tia Mari, I have, a Uncle Tito, right? My nickname is Peanut. My dad says this cute story of like they had their first ultrasound and I was shaped like a little peanut. My mom says it was because I was born salty. It's fine though, because she's the biggest nut I know. Fine. I'm glad that you guys are here because my parents never went to any of my shows. Like my dad would say weird stuff like, "Mija, you cuss too much and it's unattractive," right? Because that's what I want to be, attractive to my father. And he was a ridiculous guy. I don't know if you have told like this to your family, but my dad would be the person that would talk through the whole movie, right? And then right at the action-filled parts, he'd be like, "Mia, what's happening? What are they doing?" I don't know. The only way to get him to be quiet through like a whole movie, right, is if it was like rated R and there were titties on the screen. Like if those titties ablazing, he'd be super quiet the whole movie. And that's when I like to go behind him and be like, "Hey dad, what's happening? What are they doing?" Always wanted a son. It's true. My dad always wanted his son to leave behind like this macho Mexican dad legacy. I don't know. It's like this macho guy thing in our family. And that was so confusing to me because I was like, what's the Rodriguez legacy dad? Chronic ingrown toenails and diabetes. What are you trying to leave behind, you weirdo? I found out later after his funeral that he actually taught my entire family karate. Cousins, uncles, like so many people came up to me. And I found out that generation upon generation of my family learned karate from my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, which blew my mind because he didn't know any karate. I don't know what those people know how to do to defend themselves. I'm sure it's like a lot of punting, maybe a branch. I don't know. A lot of people know that my side hustle is I read tarot cards. Yeah, thanks. So a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually a medium, and
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a comedian. Yeah. Yeah, I started seeing dead people, and then we moved to a area that there was a cemetery right down the street. And I told my dad that I was getting scared seeing dead people, and he thought I was just scared of the cemetery. And he wanted to nip this fear in the bud, right? So what he did was he took me to a midnight showing of Night of the Living Dead remake.
Oh.
Then we walked home in the dark.
Oh no.
Then he crossed the street without me and left me on the side of the cemetery
Oh
Oh.
my God.
to face my fears, to know that there was nothing wrong with the cemetery, nothing to be afraid of.
Oh.
However, what my dad wasn't aware of was that there were stray peacocks in the cemetery. And I don't know if you've ever heard of peacocks, but
Oh,
it sounds like a woman screaming for help.
they scream.
So I'm walking by the cemetery, pitch dark night. I'm hearing scurrying in the leaves in it, and there's a distinct sound going, help! And when I finally made it to the end, crossed the street to my dad, he goes, there, mija, that wasn't bad. You faced your fears. You're strong and brave. Do you feel better now? And I'm like, no, but I have a newfound fear of zombies. Thank you. Didn't work. It didn't work. But yeah, so seeing dead people, it's an interesting thing for me personally. Seeing dead people is weird. I kind of like say it's like a long game of guess who, you know? It's a long game of me going, who are you? And they go, who are you? And I go, what are you doing here? And they say, what are you doing here? And then I go, you have a weird mustache. And they go, you have a weird mustache. And I'm like, it's hereditary. It's the Rodriguez legacy. Back off. I don't like it. But yeah, when I first started doing readings for people, it was very strange. People like to communicate with their loved ones, and I get that. But sometimes their loved ones think that they're, that they're a comedian, if you will. They're all light and fluffy and happy and wanting to talk and chat, and their loved ones are like crying and feeling sad. And I'm like, it's very weird to connect them with each other. It's polar opposites, if you will. I had an old man come through with his family, and he was like, tell them about my butthole. I can't just talk about your butthole. It doesn't work that way. He goes, look, my family knows me. Tell him about my butthole. So I turned to his family. I'm like, okay, his butthole. I don't understand that. He's saying about his butthole. Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't know what the butthole thing is. Okay, well, they don't know what you're talking about with your butthole. And he goes, just talk about it. Just talk about it. I'm like, they don't know what you're talking about. 17 minutes go by. Okay. 17 minutes go by. One of his granddaughters goes, oh, that's Grandpa. And he remembered he was in the army and he had something wrong with his butthole and it was digestive issues and butthole. And I'm like, great. And he's like, I told you they would know. I told you. And I was like, you couldn't have started it off with you were in the army? Straight to the butthole. My name is Athena Rodriguez. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
All right, let me get myself out here. Hold on, ads behind. All right, so Athena, where can they find you on social media?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at She Shines For You and Athena Rodriguez Comedy on Facebook.
Yes, and Athena also runs with Funky Sam hypothetical comedy, and that's why it's in there. And if you guys want to do Zoom shows and open mics and whatever, the hypothetical comedy group, really good as well. I highly recommend. I actually started there with some of my open mics, and it's a very comfortable atmosphere. So, hey, I'm all for it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Oh my gosh, dry mouth, dry mouth. After that traumatic event of of family. Oh my gosh, running through a cemetery. Heck no. All right, so we get to bring up our next comic, Racheal, who actually is from same area where I'm at, out in Tacoma, which is interesting. So this will be great to have someone near me. So everybody give it up for Racheal.
Woo!
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Racheal Andrus. I live in Tacoma. I'm from Northern California. So I'm kind of new to the Zoom thing. You know, I'm not like old fashioned, like controlling what a woman's body does, but a little old fashioned on the Zoom thing. I am, well, tell you a little bit about my history. My dad was Catholic. My mom was Jewish. I guess that makes me transgender. I am living here in Tacoma. You know, I did a lot of cool things. You know, I transitioned like 15 years ago, and I always wanted to try out new things like my hair, my makeup, and learning how to give fellatio. So I met a guy up in Seattle, and you know, before you know it, I'm in his car and doing something. And two things I found out: one, I'm really good at that, and two, I don't like the taste of the stuff in my mouth. So I was looking where to spit. I was looking in the cup holder, looking the floor. Of course, it's Washington, it's cold, and the window's all foggy, and the guy yells, "Spit it out the window." So I opened the window, and there was a drunk guy looking at me. I guess he got his change.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm a little bit dirty. So I am, you know, started a new job this year. I'm a tow truck driver. So
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
that's a transition from hoe to toe. It's funny, like people go up to me and they ask me, "You're really a tow truck driver?" After I say hoe to toe, I'm like, "So you believe the other thing, but you don't believe the tow truck driver thing? What's going on?" So, you know, I got really scared when I started driving. I was afraid who I was gonna pick up, what kind of passengers. You know, you never know who you're gonna pick up. It's kind of scary. And I just so happened to pick up this guy who was stuck in the middle of nowhere. And I'm giving him a ride back, and I was like, "Where you gotta go?" And he said, "Oh, back to my halfway house." I was like, "Oh, great." So I'm like, you know, I'm a curious person, guessing what this person does for a living, or what he did to go to prison. And I was trying to guess everything down the line, and he goes, "Oh, I killed somebody." I'm like, "Really?" So the whole time I'm driving, and he's trying to justify the fact that he killed somebody. I'm like, I'm sitting next to a murderer. I'm sitting next to a murderer.
My gosh.
Oh my goodness. So finally I get him unloaded, and you know, something you guys should know about murderers. Those beds at the halfway house are really, really soft. So I am, gosh, I'm sorry, I never did online that much. You know, another thing you should know, I learned about being a woman is always carry an extra pair of panties with you, because you never know when someone wants to buy some.
Sorry.
I you know, I was on a dating site once, and I'm talking to this guy online, and you know, we're talking, he's hitting on me, and then I spilled the beans about me being transgender, and he goes, "Oh, no, I'm not interested." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine, thank you very much." But a little bit later, I thought I blocked the guy, but I guess I didn't, because I get this message, and he goes, "You're so pretty. I would go down on you. I would suck you." And I was like, "Excuse me, I don't see gay men."
You'll have to excuse her.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So I'm also a transparent. No, you can't see through me. Yes, we can reproduce. I have kids. One time, like, I was talking to my son, and he says, you know, our life's like a movie. And I'm like, son, really, a movie? What's it called? He goes, I'll just tell you the plot. It's about 3 kids, girl, boy, girl, and one parent who is struggling performer and a very successful ex-wife. And I was like, wow, that's just like our life. What's it called? He goes, Miss Doubtfire. I'm like, that bitch ain't got nothing on me. So another time I was with my oldest daughter, we're at the airport and we're waiting in line, and this really, really sweet lady comes up to us. She just approached us and she looked at both of us and said, oh my God, you guys are the most beautiful sisters I've ever seen. And of course, for any parent, that's like the best compliment to get. And I'm blushing and I'm ready to say thank you to the lady. I'm so happy, I'm smiling. But then I turned my head and I looked at my daughter and I just realized that she just compared her father as her sister. So
Oh.
I'm also what was it? We like to do little outings, go out. My kids, they're pretty much wise asses and they like tricking me. So one time I got home and they had cookies on the table, and so I had a cookie, and I go upstairs and I start talking to my oldest daughter, and I'm talking to her, and a couple hours later she goes, you know, I just started becoming an edible chef. And I was like, did you make those cookies? A couple hours later, did you make those cookies? So that's my marijuana joke. You know, I'm very self-conscious about my voice. You know, a lot of times in public, you know, I get respect. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, whatnot. But you know, one of my biggest enemies is the fast food drive-through. Last time I went to Taco Bell, I placed my order, and the guy at the other end said, okay, sir, please pull to the window. I was like, okay, another one of these. So you know what? I wanted to prove something. So I checked my makeup, I fixed my grills, I tucked in my boy, and I got up to the window. And I guess it worked because the guy looked in front of me, he looked behind me, and then he slouched over and started picking up on me. And I'm like talking to him and make sure my boy's not sticking out. And so we're talking, and finally he hands me my order and asks my number, and I said, no, I'm good. You work for Taco Bell. And so I drive off, right? You know, still to this day, I wonder if he ever realizes that I never paid. So what else I got? I got lots of jokes. I still confuse doctors to this day though. You know, last time I went to go see a doctor, it was a new doctor. I never seen this doctor before. And he walks in and first thing he asked me was, when was your last menstrual cycle? And I looked at him like he was serious, and I said, my last life? And he didn't get it. Then I said to him, have you read my notes? He's like, yeah, I read your notes. And he's like, have you ever been pregnant? And I was like, are you trying to call me fat? What's going on? And then finally, you know, I don't know how confused this guy was because he's trying to give me a food order. He offered me a pap smear. So I said, sure, I'll take one plain with lox, extra smear. Okay, that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you.
Hold on one second. Let me get myself out here. Woo. And where can they find you on social media?
Oh, it's at Racheal Andrus on Instagram.
Oh, and you actually got it on there. I love when people actually.
I make it easier.
And just a reminder, guys, anytime you guys find us on social media, tip us, give, put in, because we put in a lot of work for this, and all of your performers out here, they really give it 100% their all. And, hey, it's amazing. You did a really good job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Honestly, I would love to say something about your set and transition, but I am not transgender and I have no say in that. So
Well, anybody can ask me questions. I'm always open-minded.
and I love that. I love that someone is open about it. So, and Rachel, I do think I recognize you. Have you, do you go down to like Open Mic Collective and stuff?
Yeah, I'm on the Open Mic Collective. I'm always
Oh, that's where I've
you
seen
probably
you.
saw
Yeah.
me at A Street, or you saw me one of them. I've been
Yeah,
around.
I thought I saw you at A Street. Okay, I do recognize you. Yay. See, this is how we all get to know each other. Guys, the comedy world is not as big as you think it would be, right? I'm sorry. So, all right. So, your next performer coming up is, I'm getting to it. Carol. And it's funny because Carol and I met through acting class, comedy coaching, and so many other venues. Again, a small world, and really the goddess of performing and your comedy. I'm really and like I said, very funny, very talented. So let's give it up for Carol.
Woo!
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I love doing Zoom comedy, but I have been doing a lot of live comedy because I got my shots. COVID, flu, tequila. Right before this show. It's great. I am a very hopeful, almost empty nester. And I know you're probably wondering, wow, at her age? And yeah, I almost forgot to have kids. Dating, I had to take I spent so much money on birth control that I should have been able to buy an island. Only to find out when I wanted to have kids, I had to take so many fertility drugs that I should have become pregnant just by passing strange men on the street. It's true. Married 28 years.
Wow.
Thank you. Happily divorced 5. But divorce just sounds so negative. I like to call myself free range. Or cage free. Or my new favorite, released early for good behavior. But honestly, being released at this age, it's tough because women my age, we're invisible. It's like the boy who could see dead people. The only living things that can see me are men over 80 and cats. And that's fine. I have no desire to become a cougar. I know what young men want. Their hormones are raging out of control, and they only have one thing on their minds: playing Call of Duty. And I should have known my marriage was not going to work out. I actually joined Ancestry.com. I found out that I come from a very long line of smart women who have really terrible taste in men. It's true. My great-grandmother 12 generations ago had an affair with Henry VIII. I'm just lucky she didn't lose her head. Last time I saw my ex, I told him our vows were supposed to be until death do us part. He didn't look dead. Yet. Oh, I really missed him. by about an inch. Not a gun joke, parallel parking joke. And I really have to say, it is tough getting old. I'm waking up every morning with a hangover, and I don't remember the party the night before because there was no party the night before. I do remember the exact moment my biological clock stopped ticking because my hot flashes made it explode. Forget solar and wind power. If we could harness hot flash energy of menopausal women across the US, we could light up Las Vegas. Dude, go ahead, tell me I look tired. Thank you. I just charged my cell phone. And now at least I know why they call it menopause. It's because my hormones have hit the pause button, and every day I'm a little bit closer to becoming the man of my dreams. Ready, willing, and able to grow a beard. And it must be true, my son calls me dude. And Facebook has started sending me those annoying targeted ads for ball wash. Not sports related at all. I just really can't wait till I finally get the chance to stand up, to pee. It's gonna be a great time saver. Am I right, ladies? Our lines are way too long. And getting older, I have to work out every day just to keep up with gravity. Usually yoga, Pilates, and running from my responsibilities. But truly, I did try running. I hate running. I ran a mile. Sorry. Thinking I could maybe get an extra treat. Cookies, ice cream. I figured out how many calories you'd burn running a mile. Enough for 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. That's not a treat. That's not even enough for a chia pet. Forget running. I'm not running anymore. And namaste my ass. My warrior pose is weary. My crow is crooked. And if I have to do one more downward dog, I swear I'm going to bite someone's leg. Grr. I know I may look okay over Zoom, but underneath my clothing, it's starting to look like the earthquake map of California. And boy, are my tectonic plates shifting. All of that working out. I could do squats from here to the moon. My butt is still so flat. It will never look like any of the Kardashians. Even Rob. And now that Pete Davidson's hanging out with him too. So I've just decided to go old school DIY. When I was growing up, we didn't have implants. I had to stuff my bras with rolled up gym socks. So I'm just going to wait till I'm old and I'm wearing diapers. I'm going to stuff my diapers. I have it all figured out. It's going to be great. I'm going to stuff the right cheek with snacks. So when I'm very old and like they say in the commercial, I fall down and I can't get back up, I won't starve to death. And the left cheek with treats. So while I'm lying helpless on the floor, my face doesn't get eaten by my cat. I'm already turning into my mom. I need reading glasses. I constantly wander into rooms and I can't remember why I'm there. But at least now that I think of it, at least I'm getting my steps in, retracing my steps. And my mom, she was the perfect 60s mom. She always made sure we had the 4 food groups: ding dongs, Twinkies, ho-hos, and weed. I'm sorry about that. I'm just joking. My mother would never let us have her weed. It was called grass back then. It was expensive, illegal, and she had her stash so well. She's 95. We've never found it. So, 60s mom makes me a boomer. And, COVID's been called the boomer remover. But it's going to take a lot more than COVID to get rid of me. Growing up, I survived pesticides in my food, lead paint, and one entire family shared one telephone. Oh my God, and it never left the house. It was smack dab in the middle of the kitchen wall. It had a cord and a rotary dial. That's why I figured I will never text as fast as my kids. I don't have arthritis. I have RPS, rotary phone syndrome. And it was just a phone. We had no camera. We had no calculator. We didn't have Instagram. If I wanted to share a photo with a friend, I had to have a camera, take real film, drive it, drop it off to be developed, wait a week, drive back, pick it up. And then I had to mail it snail mail. And I remember by the time it arrived, I regretted sending the naked photo in the first place. Worse than that, I could never have film developed again because the creepy man had seen me naked. I just want to leave you with my public service announcement. If you don't have children yet, think very carefully before you have them, because once a parent, always a parent, and sometimes they never leave. And I know that's why some animals eat their young. Thank you all so much. You've been great. I've been Carol.
Oh my gosh. I know, right? My son always calls me bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. And
Go
refers
figure.
to me as someone who was born in the late 20th century.
Scary.
Come on, man. So Carol, everyone can see, you can find you on Instagram. It looks like at Carol Johnson LOL.
And on TikTok, which horrifies my kids, Carol Johnson Comedy. Those are the two best places. And Goddess of Humor on ASY TV, Love on Lockdown.
All right. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
All right. So next up, we have our headliner, which I'm so excited to bring up because this woman looks like she's going to, I don't know, bake me a fruitcake and tell me all kinds of maybe stories from Sicily. I'm not sure. So give it up for your headliner, Eve.
Thank you so much. Big hand for Audra, Wendy, Athena, Racheal, and Carol. They've been fantastic. Thank you. Good evening. Is everybody still out there? Maybe we could all sneeze at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we have started a new epidemic. We won't tell anybody. We will let them think that it all started in Tasmania or maybe Madagascar. Nobody will know but us what actually happened. So I am here tonight on behalf of your oldest living female identified relative. She wants you to call her. I am also here because there are very few 80-year-old female comics. And when I realized this, I said to myself, no, I didn't say that. The dog. I said to myself, there's a niche. God, I've got to hire him. He's perfect. I said to myself, there's a niche and I can fill it. And so I did. What I did was when I retired from working, I was 75 years old and I did some mathematics and I said, wow, I have about 15 to 20 years still left to live. What can I do to fill them? And people said to me, oh yeah, there's pickleball. You can do that. And you can do chair yoga. And there's book clubs and astronomy classes. It's going to be fun. And I thought to myself, nah, stand-up comedy sounds better. You know, if the hours are great, you can drink on the job. You don't have to go to graduate school or pass the bar. In fact, you could sit at the bar. Mostly, I liked how it could be like a dancing dog. Nobody sees a dancing dog and says, well, how good is this dog? You know, can he do the cha-cha? Can he do the merengue? Has he taken ballet lessons? Stand on one foot. Now people look at the dog and they say, far out, dancing dog. So that's what I wanted for me. Also, when you're older, there's an awful lot to talk about. My life as an older person is weird. That's all I can say. I mean, it was weird being younger and trying to set up relationships. And it was weird getting married in the middle of my life. And it was weird having a child when I was 50 years old. And they kept telling him that I was secretly his grandmother. And let's face it, all of us have a weird life for the 10 minutes we spend brushing our teeth in the morning. But older life is unpredictable. Like I used to have a sports car, a British sports car, and when you put the key in the ignition in the morning, one function would turn off, like the windshield wipers, and another function would turn back on, like the dome light. And this is what my body is now like. Some limb or organ or sensory process turns off every morning when I get up. And another one turns back on again, even if I have an appointment with the doctor to fix that thing. Regardless of how healthy you are, regardless of how many doctors you see, all these things are our total body experience, which means that you become the consummate consumer of health service. I wear out a path between my house and the Kaiser office building for doctors, just like the path that I used to wear out between my office and Nordstrom's rack. The doctors have this weird idea of what 80-year-old women are. Like, for example, I like to smoke. No, I love to smoke cigarettes. And on my records, on my medical records, it says cigarette smoker, big red letters underlined in green. Yet, when I sit down with a healthcare professional, they always look at me and say, do you smoke cigarettes? And now I have taken to saying, yes, but I am so sorry I didn't bring any with me. Now, just being older doesn't mean that I know how to crochet or bake a cake. And it makes me feel a little bit bad because future grandchildren are never going to be able to brag about my chicken soup or all my chocolate cake. All they'll have to remember is Beanie Weenies and Reese's Pieces. Kind of unfair to them, although I have an actual wonderful thing that I do with fat-free yogurt and sugar-free cookies. I throw them out. Whenever I pass Nordstrom's perfume counter, the staff gets all excited and upset and frightened, and they run around and they gather up all the free samples that they have, and they try to follow me up and down the aisles as though I'm going to steal something, and I've got a backpack on and I'm a teenager, and they don't have to worry, actually. Because when you are my age, there's a chemical on your skin that makes normal perfume smell like kerosene. And you can remember when you were a little kid and your mother would push you up and make you kiss an elderly relative, right?
Yes.
And it was disgusting. That's what happened. So what I do is I go to the grocery store and I go to the baking aisle and I buy flavoring. I buy mint, I buy almond, I buy coconut, I buy vanilla, and I mix them up any way I want to, and I put them on. And then people are standing next to me in an elevator and they say, pie, or a pudding. And none of these are anything that I have any idea how to cook, but they've mixed it with things they like. Much, much kinder to people. Banana bread, even. They have no idea that I have no way to cook any of this, but at least they don't mind being near me. But my face, my poor face. A couple of years ago, an evil spirit came into my bedroom late at night, tore off my face, and gave it to Sarah Jessica Parker. She didn't need it at all, and I don't have any way of getting it back. I wrote her very polite letters. I left polite messages on her phone. Then I started sending urgent emails. And then I sent some texts that were even more urgent. And all I hear from is her security detail. And they send me these cease and desist messages. And now they've given me restraining orders. I don't think that I will ever see my own face in a mirror again as long as I live. But I have come up with a workaround. Pepto-Bismol. Stay with me on this. One day I was putting on makeup, my favorite pore minimizer makeup, and I happened to have Pepto-Bismol next to it. And I looked at the ingredients on both of them, and wow, there was an overlap. And I thought to myself, there is a price differential between these two things. Maybe I will try tonight putting Pepto-Bismol on my face before I put on my makeup. And I did. And wow, all of a sudden, I had the face that I had 10 years ago. I mean, it was like Cinderella. It lasted for 4 hours and then wham, it was gone. But I thought to myself, can I tell anybody about this? No, they'll never believe me. So tonight, I pass this on to you. And you can try telling people about it. No one will believe you either. But it's cheap, it's pink, and you can just throw it on your face. Also, I have my mother's hair. I don't know why she packed it up in a box with a ribbon like that. It was weird. But I did that. And yet, I don't look like my mother. I look like my father in drag. My parents both came from the old country, and it's a country so old that no one even remembers its name. But when I try to get on a bus, like Carol said, I have an invisibility cloak. No one sees me trying to get on a bus, an escalator, or in a coffee line in a store that is trying to sell coffee. There's always room in front of me. And speaking of invisible, why are people inaudible? The other day, my husband told me that hope brings a turtle. I was so happy. I said, where will we put him? And he said, put who? And I said, the turtle. And he said, what turtle? And I said, the wonderful turtle that Hope brings and what will he eat? And my husband said, hope springs eternal. And I said, well, it better, because it has to bring us a turtle. Can eat some table scraps. And you know, why people don't come with subtitles is beyond me. Everybody on television has a subtitle, and you know exactly what they are saying, even when they're having passionate sex. I want people to do that. Well, what I did finally was to go out and buy hearing aids. And hearing aids come with a range of options, choices, and possibilities. It's like redoing your kitchen. Rechargeable or battery, visible, invisible, customized, off the shelf. Finally, I decided on invisible, customized hearing aids that look like two little pink wads of gum that has been well chewed. Now, you have to learn how to operate your hearing aids. Every morning you have to take them and stick them in your ears with funny twisting motion without dropping them on the floor where the dog will get them. When they need to have their batteries changed, they make a funny chiming motion and a little noise that goes with it. Now, wouldn't it be great if babies made a little chiming noise when they needed to be changed? Changing the battery on a hearing aid is very simple. If you've ever put a lentil into the eye of a grasshopper, little more swearing. You also have to know how to change another thing. Every hearing aid has what's called a wax guard. A wax guard is a tiny, teeny white balloon that is about the size of the tip of a pencil. And you have to poke it in there with an eensy teeny tiny chopstick. Okay? These balloons could be, and probably should be, condoms for little tiny field mice. All the field mice and put them in a classroom and teach them how to put them on. And speaking of animals, I have a dog. You heard him earlier crying out for the show. We share our home with him, and everybody wants to know, what kind of a dog is he really? Because he looks like a loaf of bread with ears and a tail. Now, he is actually half dachshund and half golden retriever. And you might wonder, how in the world did this happen? We finally found out. It turns out that his mother and his father were at a party one night. There's a lot of alcohol with a lot of smoking and dancing, and they fell in love with each other, and it got really passionate and out of hand. And suddenly, and their families were horrified, furious. And so what they did was they sent the pregnant mom to San Francisco. They thought, if she's out of sight, no one will know. And also they heard that people in San Francisco will adopt a puppy regardless of anything, as long as it can drink water. So we got one of the puppies, and this is our dog. The rest is history. But you have to remember to feed them, and remembering things becomes a problem after a while. And it becomes an adventure that leads to some of the stupidest conversations that you ever have. Like the other day in an event, I bumped into my friend Chris, and I said to her, Chris, are you still working at the VA? And she said, you know, you ask me this all the time, and I haven't worked at the VA for 25 years. How terrible. But I pointed out, you have the wrong name tag on. It says Nancy. And she said, no, I am Nancy. I don't know why you always call me Chris. And I said, all right, well, at least you're a nurse anyway. And she said, no, I'm a psychologist. But she's a very nice woman. And these are the kind of conversations that you find yourself having when you get older. They keep you from talking about the plot of Stranger Things, and they keep you from talking about Omicron subvariant BA5 until they're useful. Worry about bigger things. My husband has kidney stones from time to time. I won't describe them, but Kaiser has a kidney stone program. There are group meetings, there are medical tests, there are steps. First step is acknowledging that you have no control over your kidney stones. And he is a kidney stoner. And I want him to do this because he's really important to me. My body depends on his cooking to help me control my weight. Stewed pork roast, burned hamburger, fried chicken. Otherwise, who knows what I would look like? And I've learned to survive older age by investing in emotional support jewelry. I have a friend who has a large diamond, and she told me that it was the Plotkin diamond and that it came with a curse. And that got my attention, and I said, what is the curse? And she said, Plotkin. Also, it is fine to buy antiques from all the people who predecease you on eBay, even though your own child says that he will not touch these antiques and he will sell them on eBay again the minute you die. And that's fine because they will have appreciated in value, and suddenly he will appreciate you. The best reason to survive into old age is you will have learned so much that you will be able to tell everyone else how to live their lives. Sometimes they will even ask you. So what I do is I run around and I see if anybody wants me to run their lives. No one has. It's so hard. I can run anyone else's life better than I can run mine. And there's just no market for it at all. So you have been the most wonderful audience, and I have had the greatest time tonight. And what I really want to offer is, please, somebody have coffee with me, and I'll help you run your life. But please do something about mine.
All right. That was Eve.
Thank
Eve.
you so much.
Can we find you on social media? Are you on?
Flawlessly. I am on Instagram as Eve Meyer, eve.meyer.sf.
There you go. All right. And you've even got your Venmo on there too. So guys, again, wonderful performance. Support your actors, your comedians, because they put a lot of time and effort into this. And thank you so much, Eve. I enjoyed that.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody. You've all been wonderful. This has been a superb evening.
All right. So it's been another Saturday night with Raw Comedy. Give us about a week or so. Hopefully this will be back on the YouTube page. All upcoming events by Suitman you can find on suitmancomedy.com. If you also go onto the Facebook page, follow Suitman on Instagram and Facebook, and we will also post any other upcoming events as well. So thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me. It was a
Thank you.
blast.
This is fantastic. This was so much
Bye.
fun.
Thank you.